Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today I want to talk a little bit about the Vuzix Blade. I've been hesitant to talk about it for a while just from my own personal experiences and also before recently there was really nothing to discuss. Vuzix had stated that they were actually going to be coming out with the Vuzix Shield sometime later this year, but we've heard no other announcements. What we have now is an announcement about the Vuzix Blade 2, and I have some opinions about that. I personally have taken order of 4 separate Vuzix Blade devices and one M4000 device. I ended up keeping 2 of the devices, the original Blade and then also the upgraded Blade. Now we have the Vuzix Blade 2 that has been announced. It is, there's no price that I have seen yet. It basically is, has a notification where you can, put your email in so that they will notify you when the actual device is, I guess, available. It says it's going to be available in September. So that is, I guess, now. Being quite frank, I don't want to be overly negative. I don't want to be overly positive. I want to try to stay somewhere in the middle. When I ordered my original Vuzix Blade, I sent it back because I thought that there was something wrong with the display. It had like a greenish hue. I know that the actual, the UI has green in it. The device looked like it had some bleed in it. I sent the device back. And then I went ahead and reordered a second Vuzix Blade. The second Vuzix Blade that I purchased, I actually just, I guess, oils from your eyelashes because of the way that because of the design of the Vuzix Blade. The oils from my eyelashes actually caused, like, I don't know, it almost looked like scratches, but it wasn't scratches. It was the oils on my eyelashes reacting with whatever they have on the lenses, and it made it appear like how glasses that have the protective coating over them, how they kind of deteriorate over time, and it actually kind of made the lenses not so clear. And being that you can't use any kind of solvents on the Vuzix Blade or else you'll destroy it, it is not water resistant or waterproof at all. So you could only use like a microfiber cloth to clean it. And these marks would not clean out of the lenses. So I reached out to Vuzix. At that time, my device was under warranty, but they offered to fix my blade for $90, which I paid, and they replaced the lenses. So I got that pair of Vuzix Blade back. And subsequently after that, so basically I allowed a person to try on the blade. They were curious about them. And when they went to put the blade on, they actually, they operated the hinges like, as if they had the flexible hinges. So they kind of opened the glasses and put pressure on that center of the actual glasses, which actually caused a hairline type fracture. I had to baby those blades or that pair of blades for a while until eventually I did reach out to Vuzix. And what I did is I actually bought my third pair of Vuzix to replace the one that was basically cracked down the middle. It wasn't fully broken, but it was cracked. I ordered the third one. It came in the mail. And I had sent the second pair back to Vuzix. Little did I know, I didn't know, that they were going to do this, but basically they sent me a whole new pair of blades for the one that was cracked down the middle. So basically I had 2 of the original versions of the blade. Pretty much as soon as I took receipt of the third pair of blade glasses that I ordered, the upgraded blade came out. So I reached out to Vuzix and I said, hey, I just ordered this upgraded I just ordered the original version. I would like to get the upgraded blade, so I'd like to initiate a return. They were more than willing to work with me, and I sent the blade back, and they and then I ordered the upgraded version. So I had the older version, and then I had the upgraded version as well. So I'm always trying to use the Vuzix Blade to record different types of footage. Oftentimes I would use it when I would be out doing yard work, and I would have it on and I would record, just putting the device through its paces. On this particular day, I was wearing it, and then I actually smelt some burning, and even heard kind of like a sizzling sound. Immediately I took the blade off, and I had it charging as I was using it, so that's on me. And I pulled out the charging port, and it seemed to work. I powered the device off, powered it back on multiple times. It seemed to be okay. I let it dry out and waited till the next day, and when I went to plug it in, it was not accepting a charge anymore. So basically I kind of considered it just a loss, because I was, I had become accustomed to using my blade. I mean, I used the glasses insert, so I would basically use them all the time, or I would use them with my contact lenses. I would wear them to work, I would wear them here and there. So I reached out to Vuzix again, and obviously inquired to see if there was a repair that I could possibly pay for. They basically told me and I'm just gonna be honest, it took like probably 2 months or more before they actually got back to me, basically just to tell me no. And previously, when I actually sent in the one that had the crack down the center, it actually took over a month for them to respond with that one as well. So the turnaround, even just the process, if you have something wrong with the blade, they want you to, you explain it, then they want you to send in a video of the problem, and whoever your representative is will tell you, I'm going to talk to the team and we'll get back to you. Well, on this last encounter, it was like 2 months, and I was just gonna let it go, but I just decided to shoot them an email to see, hey, is there any word or whatever, and it's almost like they just completely forgot. So they got back to it, and then it still was a little while after that before they actually responded back and told me that the only thing they could do for me, because the device was out of warranty and it's not waterproof, was to offer me a refurbished model at $775, which I declined. I declined it because reportedly the Vuzix Shield was supposed to be coming out sometime this year, and I felt like it would be better for me to apply that money to the newer product as opposed to buying the one that I already owned. Now, I won't deny, the autofocus camera, kind of immaterial, but I do miss the integrated speakers. I mean, now I have to wear headphones every time I wear my original Blade, and it's a little bit of an annoyance. It's just an extra piece of technology that you have to carry around, which is not ideal. Moving on, let me just say, it seems as though Vuzix has pivoted, and we're no longer hearing information about the Vuzix Shield. It's actually still on the website, but now they have announced what I'm reading here as the Vuzix Blade 2. And from what I've looked at over the documentation, it is going to come with Android 11, and most of the things that they talk about with this version of the Vuzix Blade is completely business focused. They're talking about frontline workers. It looks like they have someone in the healthcare profession posing in the glasses. They have someone operating in surgery, and then like a construction worker, all wearing the Vuzix Blade smart glasses. With the safety certification of the lenses, that's not necessarily a bad thing. I mean, they are, aesthetically, they're not going to be for everybody. And as a result, seeing them as like a safety glasses device, then, I've seen some safety glasses that look a lot worse than the Vuzix Blade do. So passing them off as a form of safety glasses is actually, I think, a strong play for Vuzix. because this is just my personal opinion. I feel as though they tried the consumer market and there was not much of a market. Even though they actually presented the Netflix app, they presented Amazon Prime, they have YouTube for YouTube, they have Chrome, they have the VLC player to add movies that maybe you obtain digitally. They had all of these options, you know, to try to turn it into a consumer-facing product. And it seems to me that, you know, that just didn't go well. And even with the Vuzix Shield, I actually listened to a couple of conversations by one of the people that work at Vuzix, and they basically said that they wanted to kind of leave this AR market to the consumer market to other companies, and that they wanted to double down and focus on business. I personally was a little bit disappointed in that, and I still was going to purchase the Vuzix Shield. I still had in mind, like, I'm going to get the Vuzix Shield. So I was going to go ahead and get the Vuzix Shield because I was looking forward to the binocular display and 4K recording. I believe I mentioned in a previous video where I talked about the differences between the Vuzix Blade and the M4000, which I actually purchased. And when I got the M4000, clearly it was a more powerful device. It did record at 4K, though not 4K quality of our modern smartphones, but you know, it was passable. The operating system was totally different, and the functionality was different. There was no access to the Vuzix Blade store, where you had access to consumer apps such as VLC player, YouTube, Amazon Prime, Netflix. That was left out of the M4000 store. So basically considered as two separate storefronts. You can access Netflix through the browser. The only caveat to that is, like, say when you click on the icon to go full screen, it wouldn't go full screen. You would still see your browser bar. So it's a different type of experience. But as I said before, it did seem snappier. It seemed more powerful, more capable. It had reportedly the XR chip, a chip that's used in mobile VR headsets. So it had a little bit of power on board. Based upon my personal research, it appeared that the Vuzix Shield was essentially going to get that same technology. However, it was just going to add USB-C. It was going to add the binocular display, and I'm not sure if it was going to add optical image stabilization. With the Vuzix Shield, you're getting USB-C, you're getting the binocular display, you're getting I believe there is no micro SD card for that device, but it did have a larger hard drive. You're getting some and you're losing some. As a matter of fact, let me just go into the product page and let's look at the Vuzix Shield. Specification wise, the Vuzix Shield was going to have an 8-core CPU. It was going to be running Android 10. It had a 13 megapixel camera with autofocus and would record 4K up to 30 frames per second. It has an integrated privacy LED. And basically what that is if you were recording, anyone that was looking at you would know that you were recording them. It has an advanced optical reader, which includes a barcode scanner. And it has ANSI Z87.1 safety certification. It has USB 3.1 Gen 2 on the USB Type-C platform. It has the Wi-Fi 802.11 BGNAC chip with 2.4 and 5 gigahertz support respectively. It also has Bluetooth 5.0, BR, EDR, and LE. Now, it also has integrated stereo speakers. It has noise cancellation microphones. The speakers are used for music playback, notifications, instructions, and phone calls. It has Bluetooth audio functionality. And then, you know, as far as controls, it has voice controls. It has capacitive touchpad on the side of the glasses that will support left, right, up, down swipes, and 1 or 2 finger taps. The touchpad will be usable with gloves. So that's what you're getting with the Vuzix Shield. But what we don't know if or when this is going to be released. And I don't know, it seems like, I mean, I'm just guessing, but it may not get released this year with the release of the Blade 2, which seems to be falling into this same market. Now, let's go over the specs of the Blade 2. So when we look at the technical specifications of the Blade 2, you have a 480 by 480 color display, waveguide projection technology. The aspect ratio is 1:1. The field of view is 20 degrees, equivalent to a 6-inch mobile device being held 17 inches away from your face. The brightness is 2000 nits. It's got 24-bit color. It's got a right eye display, so it's not the binocular display, which is similar to the original upgraded Blade and the original Blade. You do have prescription inserts available. All lenses are UV protected. It has the ANSI Z87.1 safety certification and full UV protected lenses. It has multilingual voice control capabilities, 6-axis touchpad with multi-finger support. It has a companion app for Android and iOS devices. This device is going to come with Android 11 as opposed to Android 10. It has 40 gigabytes of built-in memory, quad-core ARM CPU, so we have a quad-core as opposed to an 8-core. It has the internal LiPo rechargeable batteries, integrated stereo temple speakers, which is a carryover from the upgraded Blade, dual noise cancellation microphones, 5.0 and 2.4 Wi-Fi and Bluetooth wireless. Now the previous version, the upgraded Blade, does not support 5.0 Bluetooth wireless or whatever. So, and it's interesting how they place this here. They put 5.0 and 2.4 Wi-Fi and Bluetooth wireless, but they didn't go into the specifications as they did with the Vuzix Shield as far as the type of Bluetooth that is supported. Now this is the kicker. It has USB 2.0 micro B. So the previous version, the upgraded Blade and the original Blade, both have micro USB instead of USB-C. You have an 8 megapixel camera. We've heard of that before. Autofocus, which came on the upgraded Blade. Streaming video. Integrated barcode scanner. 3-degree of freedom head tracking. 3-axis gyro. 3-axis accelerometer. 3-axis mag integrated compass. And then it gives environment operating temperatures. Now, when I look over this list, and I'll go to the upgraded Blade and look at their technicals, the actual product sheet there. But when I look over this list, the differences I see are Android 11, 40 gigabyte hard drive, or built-in memory. They don't say hard drive, built-in memory. I see stereo speakers. The differences that I see, all of this technical jargon about the optics, we don't know what the previous one was. And if you go into Vuzix site and you compare the two, they're not really comparing apples to apples. So when they go into display resolution, 480 by 480 color display, waveguide, projection technology, 1:1 ratio, all of this 24-bit color, 2000 nits of brightness, there's really no specifier to say that that's an improvement over the previous version, because you can't look at the previous version stats. Now, I feel pretty confident that display was already 480 by 480. We definitely know it was 1:1 ratio. I can't speak on the nits of brightness or the 24-bit. We know it was in the right eye. We also know that it has prescription lens inserts. And so all of that's the same. The Z87.1 safety certification, ANSI, is on the upgraded Blade as well. The language controls are on the upgraded Blade. The Android and iOS apps, the 2-axis touchpad with the multi-finger support, all on the upgraded Blade. Android 11, I believe, is different. 40 gigabytes of built-in memory is different. The quad-core ARM CPU, I would bet it's the exact same processor or system on a chip. It says internal LiPo rechargeable batteries. Well, there's no indication that that's any different than the upgraded Blade. You have integrated speakers, again, upgraded Blade. Dual noise cancellation microphones, We'll have to look at the specifications on the upgraded Blade, but I don't believe that they're actually sharing all of the stats the same way that they are here, but we'll take a look at it. The 5.0 to 2.4 gigahertz Wi-Fi and Bluetooth wireless. The 5.0 is an upgrade. The USB 2.0 micro USB is the same. The 8 megapixel camera is the same. Autofocus is the same. Streaming video is the same. Integrated barcode scanner, I believe, is still the same. The 3 degree of freedom head tracking, gyro access, or 3-axis gyro, 3-axis accelerometer, 3-axis mag integrated compass. I know that the device does have a compass in it, because when you turn your head to the left or the right or whatever, it will tell you if you're facing north, east, or south or west. So this looks like a rebranding of the upgraded Blade with maybe a handful of upgrades, and then they don't really specify the downgrades. What are the downgrades? 40 gigabytes of internal memory sounds great, but the original Blade came with about 8 gigabytes of internal memory, and you could put a micro SD card standard of 32 gigabytes in there, which means that it's basically the same. The only difference is built in, and what you notice here is that there is no SD slot per this documentation, which means that it is no longer upgradable. Now, if they would have added the 40 gigabytes of internal memory and still left the SD slot, then that would give you up to 2 gigabytes worth of storage space. But instead, they're leaving it flat at 40, and it is not going to be user upgradable according to this specification sheet. 8 megapixel camera. It's probably that same thing that they've been dragging along with the other 2 versions. The 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi connectivity that's a nice little option there, because it's going to give you better bandwidth for, like, if you were streaming video or audio, and you're in a place where you can get access to 5G. So that is an upgrade. And I guess probably for me the biggest downgrade is the lack of mention of any of the consumer apps. You don't see anywhere on this page anything about Netflix, anything about YouTube, VLC, or any of those things. But what you do see is Zoom, TeamViewer, Microsoft Teams, Cisco WebEx, and that's it. So this is in line with what Vuzix was speaking about when they were talking about the Vuzix Shield earlier this year, when they basically stated that they were going to pivot away from consumer, or leave the consumer market for other players in the field. Just being quite frank, something that I want to kind of just touch on, when I would go into public areas, when I had my original Blade on, it would see the Wi-Fi, and I would be able to connect, and I would be able to stream or do whatever I needed to do, or receive notifications or whatever the case may be, via Wi-Fi. When I purchased the upgraded Blade, which obviously was, I guess, a step in the direction towards them moving towards a more business mind approach, I stopped being able to see all the different guest Wi-Fis. At home I saw it, but at different places that I went to, it was no longer available. And I actually mistakenly thought that they had upgraded it to where it doesn't connect. Well, but then once my upgraded Blade got destroyed, I went back to wearing my regular Blade, and there's the Wi-Fi again. So there was some kind of an internal change. It could have been that there was something wrong with my particular device, but basically I did notice that small change, and I just kind of moved on from it, and I just started to, I really leaned more upon the other features of the device, like the VLC player and so on and so forth. I will also acknowledge with the upgraded Blade that When I originally bought the Blade, I had a lot better experience with streaming video and that type of thing. But when I went to the upgraded Blade, I felt like it was not quite as dynamic. I had a lot more stuttering with the upgraded Blade. So it could have been that the device was just doing a little bit more with the same processor chip. Maybe they had a lot more things running in the background, which made it stutter a lot more. Didn't have that issue like if I basically handbraked a movie and put it onto the device and played it natively. I didn't have the issue. But streaming even at home with the Vuzix, I noticed that it was a lot more unreliable with the upgraded Blade as opposed to the original Blade. So as I said before, I just wanted to kind of share an update on Vuzix Blade, and being very blunt and honest, if you're a consumer and you're considering buying the Vuzix Blade, I probably wouldn't do it. And the bottom line is, for myself personally, when I was looking at buying the Vuzix Shield, I wouldn't recommend that one either. But the reason why personally I was going to buy the Vuzix Shield was I really like that first person perspective recording. And at that time I was, when I was looking at the Vuzix Blade in the first place, I imagined myself getting one of those electric skateboards, electric scooter, maybe electric bike, and actually getting some interesting footage riding around different interesting places and getting recordings like that, as opposed to using something like a GoPro or trying to carry a camera around or using my phone. It just would have been so much more convenient just to kind of turn your head and look around to get some of those videos and also photos. The other way I was going to use the device was when I'm working on woodworking projects, and it would have given a interesting first person perspective on what I was doing, and I could actually record and actually talk about what I was working on with both of my hands free to do what I needed to do. And it would have gave me a higher quality video, because I actually attempted to do those things with the original Vuzix Blade and the upgraded Blade, but just being honest, the processor couldn't keep up with the processing of the video. It was often pixelated, and obviously the quality, it's they say 8 megapixel, but it's like 7.6 megapixel camera, and so the quality was just too low for anything other than just like some casual passing video. It really is nothing that you would want to really keep around for home movie quality or anything like that. It's just it's just a cool thing, cool party trick. And the other functional way of using it, well, for me, using the original one would have been when I work on my car and I pulling parts off, I may wear the Vuzix Blade to actually record where all those bolts and screws go, so that if I have to backtrack, I had a reference without having to write it down or something like that. So things that I would have liked to have seen with the Vuzix Blade or this platform would have been some kind of a grocery app, where basically you could go into the grocery store and there was like your grocery list, and as you picked up the items, they would just come off of the actual grocery list, and having both hands free to do what you need to do, as opposed to, like, for right now, my wife and I, we use an app on the iPhone, and she'll put the information into this list and I'll check them off. But it would have been so much more convenient if I had an application that was on the actual device, where I could actually look at something, especially too, like, imagine if you had like a because it has an integrated barcode scanner, that you could actually add up the prices and you could see how much your grocery bill is going to be, just by looking and scanning things, and so on and so forth. So I feel like that was a missed opportunity. Obviously remote, all of the remote work stuff is paid. I can't speak on how well it would have worked, because it seems to me that's more of an organizational type of thing, where an organization would invest in some kind of software, maybe like the TeamViewer, WebEx, these types of programs, in order to actually be able to kind of remote in and see what, you know, the employee or the caller is talking about. Like, say if somebody was fixing something, and they would be able to, you know, give instructions by looking through the camera and seeing what the actual wearer was seeing. I don't regret purchasing the Vuzix and having that experience. I would say though, I would have liked to see them do some more consumer focused type things, and you know, maybe flesh it out a bit more. But I understand and respect the fact that they're a smaller company, and being a smaller company, they can't do everything. They don't have the resources of an Apple, a Google, or, you know, even a Microsoft. And as a result, they can't be expected to provide, you know. And let me backtrack and just say too, the issue with the Blade 2 and even the Vuzix Shield not being integrated into the consumer store. Well, right now there's only a few apps, consumer apps, in the Vuzix store. So if the consumers go away, there will be no need to make consumer apps, and the support for the apps that exist, where there would have been potential opportunities for making money, will go away. If there are no consumers using the Vuzix Blade to watch Netflix or Amazon Prime, those applications will go away. Whoever created them, whoever's maintaining them, will no longer spend the money to keep that going on. So if that's the case, you'll either have an extremely outdated app which does not function well and also would become a avenue for security risk, or the app will just go away altogether. And then at that point, whether you spend whatever it costs for the Vuzix Blade 2 or the $2,000 for the Vuzix Shield, if it does come out, you would have to just be happy with being able to record with the device, because a lot of the other features are going away. Without the SD card, it's questionable with the operating system as to whether you'll be able to continue to put VLC player on there and actually use the you know, like a program like Handbrake to shrink a movie down small enough to be able to put on the device. So I mean, most people wouldn't spend $1,000 for a camera that is 7.6 megapixels and what, 24 or 30 frames per second. Most people aren't gonna do that. So this really, in a sense, it really kills the market for Vuzix for consumers. I can't see, unless you're a developer and you're writing your own programs and actually extrapolating whatever benefits that you can out of the Vuzix Blade, very similar to like the HoloLens for consumer purposes. It's just pretty much an abandoned device. And, you know, I mean, that's pretty much it. I mean, it took me a long time to kind of get to the point to making this video because, as I said, I don't think it's a bad thing. I don't think it's a wrong thing. This is simply a business decision that Vuzix has to make in order for them to stay viable for themselves. I mean, the people that work at Vuzix, they have families to feed, they have responsibilities, and they need to go the path that's going to actually be financially successful for them and that's going to reward their investors. Consumers, you know, can be very fickle. And, you know, I'm on the edge of consumerism in the sense that I was willing, before I heard about the actual Netflix and the Amazon and the, you know, Google Chrome applications that were on the Vuzix player or Vuzix Blade, I was still considering getting it just for the camera functionality, just for that first person perspective. I was considering getting it, and I didn't because it was $1,000 and it did not advertise any other functionality. So I just didn't buy it. And then all of a sudden they ran a deal. It was called Dads and Grads, and they dropped the price down to $5.99, and they reported that they were going to have Netflix, Amazon Prime, and so on and so forth. And I was like, that's it. That's when I pulled the trigger on the Vuzix Blade. And when the upgraded blade came out, I pulled the trigger on that because I felt like we were, moving in the right direction. I already knew that, there was issues when they announced the Vuzix Shield, but I was considering working around those issues. I mean, because I did have just a smaller sample size of experience with the Vuzix, the M4000. So I felt like, well, maybe I could work around just doing everything through the browser, but that 4K camera, and I can't remember if it has optical image stabilization, but if it would have had optical image stabilization, because that's another thing you have to know, having a camera on your face with no optical image stabilization is a terrible idea. Terrible idea. But as I said, I respect the decision that Vuzix made as a company. I wish them the best, and will I still get the Shield? I'm still considering it to try it. I'm still considering it, and if it serves my purposes, I would still invest in it. However, if Vuzix changes their policy, basically says that, which their policy is, you have 30-day guarantee. You can try the device for 30 days, and if you're not satisfied, you can send it back. That's what emboldened me to try the M4000 at like $2,700 out of pocket. I tried that device. I liked the camera. I did not like the way that it felt, and the wearability of it just was not adaptable as much as the Vuzix Blade. So there it is. That's my spiel on Vuzix, and hopefully we'll see another company, another player fill in this market and actually take what Vuzix started and take it to the next level, and give us some nice AR glasses. I know Facebook is talking about making something. Quite frankly, I don't even use Facebook. I have my own aversions to Facebook just because I really like the fact that Vuzix was its own entity, separated. I didn't like the fact that they weren't integrated with the Google Play Store, because it limited your applications that you could use. But what I did like is because they're a separate small company, you don't have as many concerns about privacy issues, and they're too busy just trying to make things work to be worried about all these nefarious ideas. Anyways, guys, thanks for listening to this long-winded video. I appreciate you taking the time. If you have any questions about the Vuzix Blade or the upgraded Vuzix Blade, or maybe you have some information about any kind of new AR, VR type glasses that may be coming down the pipeline, that are for consumers, we're waiting for Apple, we're waiting for Google, not so much Microsoft. I don't think they're going to do it, but Apple and Google have the opportunity to really get into this market and do good things. I do have a question. What do you guys think about cameras being on smart glasses? Does it bother you? Are you okay with it? Do you feel like it's too big of a privacy issue? Let me know. If you'd like, you could let me know down in the comments how you feel about it, giving your opinion. I, for one, I see the issue with it, but man, it could be so empowering in so many different ways. If you're going out in public or something, I know you could pull out your smartphone and you can, do this and do that, but just imagine walking somewhere and maybe you see a nice little scenery or something that you want to remember, and through voice control you can be like, take a picture, and it takes the picture. I think that's cool. The drawback to that is if you have the wrong type of company that has the software behind that, quite sure they'll have a back door to look through your eyes whenever they choose. So it's always something you have to consider. There's good and there's bad to everything. All right, guys, thanks for taking time to watch the video. I'll see you in my next one. Take care.